What's up, guys? Welcome to Urban Ghost.
Urban Exploration.
Guys, make sure you do subscribe if you're new to the channel.
Give us a thumbs up.
And hit that bell notification button so you can know whenever we drop new videos, which we have a ton coming.
We do.
We are so booked up now, which I'm excited about. We actually took some time to find a bunch of cool locations, find a bunch of cool stuff, line up a bunch of things. Even a really cool trip we've been talking about. All right?
Yes.
Bobby
I don't want
Marcus?
to... Oh, okay. You revealed it.
I did reveal it. I spilled the beans.
You spilled the beans. It's okay.
Then we kind of argued.
Well, I mean, we've been talking about it on the
have been
lives,
talking about
and we seriously are committed now, and we're definitely going.
We're definitely going.
So that's a special announcement, I suppose.
Special announcement. Surprise!
Surprise, guys.
We're going to Bobby Mackey's here very, very soon. Exciting stuff. So we're preparing for that currently. It's going to be crazy. I'm excited.
Crazy.
I'm also terrified. It's insane.
I am over the moon excited about going.
Awesome.
I'm terrified, but that makes it more exciting. It gives you that adrenaline, like that.
Makes you feel alive.
It does.
This particular video, though, we definitely want to do. This is very important to me because actually this is entirely an idea that the fans came up with.
Yes.
We actually were hanging out, doing our live streams, our weekly live streams, and we typically get a lot of questions about why we do this, what have been our experiences, and like we kind of answer those questions accordingly here and there when we can. But they thought it would be a really cool idea if we took the time to kind of go over a lot of experiences, kind of go over our family history kind of deal, and I thought that'd be really neat. Plus, you guys get to respond in the comment section to let us know what your experiences are. And then we get to live those out with you. And maybe we'll even do a review on those.
I think that would be a really good
reaction type thing.
Yeah.
And have some fun as a way to kind of give back to you guys. Because this was your idea and it's what you guys mean to us. It's very important. So we've been kind of mulling over how to sort of do this for a little while now.
Yeah, we've had a few ideas and we couldn't come to one and we finally figured it out. Right. So here it is.
Decided to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Super, super cool. You get to live this with us. You get to know us a little bit better.
Yep.
And kind of know a little bit more about what the heck's going on. Of course, you'll pretty much know as much as I do, which I still don't really know, so I don't know.
I mean, give a little context for that, because some people are probably like, what is he talking about?
Well, I don't know. Like I have a lot of weird history about my family, all right? And I'm just now sort of touching on that. And there's a lot of, I don't know, mystery with all of it. So, and
a lot of mystery.
Yes.
And that goes for both of us.
Right.
Definitely.
Very strange.
A lot of strange things.
Kind of going over this and kind of talking about it. We both kind of have some weird experiences just in, growing up, right? Mm-hmm. And it's very strange. So it's kind of an interesting thing to kind of sit here and kind of go over it, put it all out on the table, because it also allows us an opportunity to sort of think about it too. Mm-hmm. And then we can all try to figure this whole thing out together. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Or it's just going to be a big giant mystery and make it all just that much more interesting as we go out and kind of explore paranormal.
And before we start, I just want to say I think that's one of the biggest, reasons why this is so interesting to me and why I got so involved in this genre and this subject and this topic and why it became a hobby is because I just had so many experiences.
Right. I think that's typically how it goes, right? Most people that are really interested in the paranormal either really like scary stuff or they really are interested in paranormal because they had some experiences or some connection to it, or both. Mm-hmm. Kind of seems that way based on our fan base. Based on our history and based on everything that we've done for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
At this point, right?
Yeah. Oh, wow. It has been 5 years.
It has been 5 years.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy? Been doing this for 5 years? That's wild.
Wow.
Mm. But kind of...
Five years, Rob.
5 years. Yeah. So taking the turn that we have done, right? Going into and doubling down on kind of real ghost hunting. Because again... I will always say that I'm not a paranormal investigator, just a content creator. We're here to make entertaining content. But at the end of the day, right now we're trying out this real ghost hunting thing.
Yep.
And it's been really cool. And it's very interesting. And the insane stuff that we've been able to get It's been unreal. And I don't really know what to think about it. So...
And we definitely weren't expecting it.
No.
Like, we were like, okay, maybe we'll pick up some voices. Maybe we'll pick up some things. But, like, we didn't expect everything that has occurred.
Yes.
And I think it's really, like, picked at people's curiosity as to why these things are happening to us specifically. And I think, maybe stuff in our history explains that.
Right. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I don't know. How do you want to start this? You want to go ahead and start?
I want you to go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can start, and then we can switch, and then go back to you. We can go back and forth. That's fine with me.
All right. Well, like...
Because yours is a little bit more intense.
It kind of is. I don't know, man. I don't really know how to feel about all of this yet. All right? I'm just not quite sure. I'm sort of new to this. I decided to open up myself up entirely to whatever this is in our family. Mm-hmm. And I rely...
Your family specifically.
Yes. I rely very heavily on discussions I have with my grandmother at this point because she knows a lot of that history, which has essentially been a mystery. I didn't intend to rhyme there. But, like, what? It rhymed. And I'm only kind of getting pieces here and there as much as we discuss it and finding out what sort of she's been through and like all the experiences she had over the years, and then finding out more about just many of my ancestors actually and how deep this might go. It's pretty freaking crazy.
It really, you guys have no idea. It's so crazy. We were looking into it last night.
I know. We ended up going down a deep rabbit hole on all kinds of weird signs and like palm reading signs and things, and it's just, I don't know, man. And so many things make so much sense.
I know, like even though it's stuff on the internet, but it's like the amount of sense it makes. Like
I know, there's just so much connection.
So crazy.
Either it's like the craziest coincidence on the planet,
right,
or it's real.
Right. You gotta explain it because people are probably like, "What the heck is he talking about?"
I don't know.
You gotta explain it.
It's so hard because I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. So, all right. So, if you've been with the channel since the beginning, or at least for a while anyway, you know that we've been doing paranormal stuff for a long time. We started doing urbex and stuff like that, right? We ended up picking up a lot of stuff, which then people started to really beg us to start doing urbex at night, and we started to beg us to start doing the paranormal side of things, and we started to put our feet in the water, and then we got into this sort of entertainment portion of the entirety of the genre, right? That's extremely popular on YouTube, and it certainly works, and it's been fun, but we decided to go a different route. But the weird thing is, we were picking up real stuff the entirety of the time. Almost to the point where things really almost played along with what we were doing a lot of times.
Yes.
Which really freaked us out. And now that I've sort of decided to go this route, I was like, all right, let's just see what happens, open this up. That whole deal has essentially escalated to this weird level, okay? And I decided to really double down and talk to my grandmother. And she and I have had odd discussions, for a very long time, since I was a very little kid, because I was a fairly strange little kid, all things considered, and that I was way older mentally than I probably should have been. I was the type of kid that really started to... I don't really know how to explain it. I'll give you an example, I guess. Like, she and I would have discussions on, like, the soul, whether or not animals had souls. Like, these are things that I was really deeply interested in as a very small child.
That's crazy.
As in, like, 5, 6 years old.
Like, you even knew, like, the fact that you even knew about spirits and things when you were that young is crazy to me. Because usually, you know, your parents try to shield you from that. Like, there's no such thing as ghosts and monsters and stuff like that.
Right. But I would sit around and I would sort of live in my own mind, right? And I would sort of think through crazy things, like where kids were just being silly and playing with Lincoln Logs and Legos, which I kind of did that too. But the most of the time, I would just be thinking about things. Right?
Or thinking while you're doing other things.
Right.
That's my thing. That's what I do. So that's why I'm just using that as an example. Because I don't know if that's what you do, but I'm always thinking about stuff whenever I'm doing other stuff. Like,
yeah, I guess you could say like I was a bit of an old soul. I suppose.
Yes.
And from a very young age, I had very strange feelings in various places, like my grandmother's houses, or some of the houses my family lived in, or places I would go, or things like museums. If I was around certain objects and things, I would have these very strange feelings. Now, at the time, of course, I didn't quite understand that, and I thought sort of everybody felt that way. Or if I saw somebody that might have been ill or not well or injured of some kind, I would feel that in my body.
I can't explain that one. That's crazy to me.
Right. It's almost like, for example, if I happened to see somebody who was limping or whatever, I'd have like this weird tingly sensation in my leg. Like there was a weird connection there that didn't make any sense. And
like, you're for real? Mm-hmm. Like, that's so crazy.
Yeah. Which, again, as a kid, I just thought everybody was like that. And I would hear my name being called fairly regularly. I would hear people talking to me fairly regularly. I would just have this sinking feeling that I absolutely 100% knew for a fact somebody was there. Mm-hmm. You know how, you're, as a kid, you're kind of scared of the dark, or like you might be like thinking there's monsters on your bed or whatever. Mm-hmm. For me, I knew for a fact something was there, but it wasn't like a monster per se. Mm-hmm. It was almost like I knew for a fact a person was there. Mm-hmm. And it's things that I gave up for a long time. You sort of filter it out as you get older, I guess. You start to focus on other things, but it never really went away. Mm-hmm. And you sort of have these strange feelings always.
Yes.
And kind of not to get off topic, but it's kind of the thing you and I were like really discussing last night when looking at like the palm thing and the strange things on my hand.
You guys, can you just like put your palm up to the camera, because like you have so many lines in your palm. It is insane. I've never seen anyone with that many lines.
I don't know if they'll be able to really make it.
I don't know if it'll focus. Oh, because of the light. Yeah,
it's hard to see.
But he has so many lines on his hand compared to mine. Like, I don't have a lot. Like, I don't know if you guys can see, but I don't have like a lot. He has a lot.
Exactly. And we were looking at a lot of things because I just got curious, because I started to really think about things about my family. Mm-hmm. And I got sidetracked, of course, like I'm getting sidetracked now because that just happens. But like, there's so many things that I was looking at that make sense. Like I was saying that I had all these weird feelings, that I was sort of drawn to certain people for certain reasons, and sort of had things to say to them that they needed to hear. Right? It's very, very strange and really hard to explain. And it's something that I spent my whole life doing, that it just kind of now clicked that that's really been my whole freaking life. And it's very odd.
I know. We were talking about that last night, that connection. Mm-hmm. It's so strange. Like you were meant to be a healer.
Isn't that weird?
Or something.
I don't know. Well, the reason she says that is because, like, I guess I have these lines on my hand, and it's called the healing stigmata, or the healer's mark, or there's a couple different names for it. Very strange. But it's an indicator that you are a healer of some sort, right? And there's apparently a whole path and steps and things you go through your life, as well as like some weird things that might happen if you don't pay attention. It's weird. I don't know. It's a whole rabbit hole, and you could go deep, and I'm not an expert, so I'm not really going to go there. But
we might someday.
Yeah. Because I'd like to learn more. Because it is
very interesting. I'm super interested in that stuff.
I'd like to learn more, but it's like so there's only really so much I can really discuss in the amount of time I have on this particular video, right? Because we could really take a dive. Right? And where I'm going with this is I had all these very strange feelings. I saw things, I felt things that I just never really sort of addressed, because again, I thought everybody did. I thought that's just where you were. I thought that's just how people existed. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And the more I discussed that with my grandmother, it just made so much sense, because that's the first source I had, because that's the next person that I know of that has these experiences. Pretty regularly, in fact. When she was born with something called like the simian crease. It's basically this straight line across the palm. And Turns out, I guess, one of my family members told her parents, my great-grandparents, that they needed to be careful because she was going to be a very powerful psychic, which again gives me so many questions. One being, how the heck would that person know? How deep does this go in my family? And why does nobody freaking talk about it? You know what I mean? And then we start really discussing all these stories that I've always heard about my great-grandparents and their belief systems and like how they thought about things. And then I started looking at various things within like just palm reading and like psychics and witchcraft, etc. And it makes so much freaking sense.
It's so scary. It's actually scary. Yeah, so many things started to click. It's scary how many things coincided, and we were like, "Oh my goodness! Like, how is this a coincidence?"
Exactly.
And this was last night, and we're like, "Okay, that's it. We got to do this video."
We have to do this video, because look, this is probably not going to be even the last video, because I'm going to dive a heck of a lot deeper into. I'm sorry, the freaking cat.
Oh, she came down the stairs.
She peeked her head over and just looked at me.
Oh.
She's gonna come over, I guess, or she's gonna go use the litter pan, probably. Awesome. But anyway, but like, it's probably not gonna be the last video because I'm gonna have to really dive.
Not the last video.
Deeper.
The last video on this topic.
Right. I'm gonna have to dive a lot deeper into this because I'm sure I've just opened this door, for this path that I just need to figure out. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's just very strange considering the direction that I've always wanted to take this channel, what this channel actually means to me, and what I've always wanted to do for people. Right?
It is strange how that coincides, but it's hard to really understand unless you really look past the other stuff we do and you look deep. Sorry, the cat is just making me laugh because she's using the litter box and I can hear. But it like really, there's just no way this stuff can be a coincidence. Like
I don't understand.
How it can just be a complete coincidence because the details.
Right. And it's like the weirdest thing, right? Because you and I have been discussing this quite a bit. Is the more we do this, and the more we sort of open ourselves up, and the more I sort of learn what to ask and how to ask and what to do, etc. The feelings have sort of changed. They've gotten more specific even. And the voices that we get on camera, the stuff we get through the S-Box or the Ghost Tube, for example, or Necrophonic app, etc., are very specific and then many times are asking for help, which is just, it can't possibly be a coincidence because it keeps happening and never really did before.
Right. And how do you explain the fact, okay, we use the S-Box or the Ghost Tube app and we get a name. Okay, for example, when we were at Brushy, I think we were using Ghost Tube, or either Ghost Tube or no, we were using Ghost Tube first, and it said Carl.
Right.
And we were using the Necrophonic, and it said it.
It said it as well. There's some very strange connections, and then we start feeling like maybe something came back with us because we had such a crazy, insane experience at the Supermax, right? It was insane, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. In fact, I was very drawn to it for a very long time. And then we go to the farmhouse with Kevin and Caleb, right? And then the S-Box starts talking about
Brushy Mountain.
Something coming from Brushy Mountain. And in fact, repeatedly. And it just can't possibly be a coincidence. And then using the dowsing rods, the exact same thing. And what did it ask for? It asked for help.
Right, I was going to say it asked for help. They always ask for help from you.
That's just crazy, you know? And I don't want to go in too much detail, I guess, about my grandmother specifically, because I would like to give her the opportunity, in fact, to tell those stories. I'm going to go ahead and let her talk about it. I think that would be a really cool idea.
Yes.
Since we're going over there anyway, to give her an opportunity to really deep dive into all of her experiences, because let me tell you something. Some of the stuff that she has always told me since I was a young kid and has never freaking changed. And if you knew my grandmother, you knew she wasn't a person who embellishes.
No.
Or tells like wild stories, you know what I mean? And the things that have happened and transpired in her life are quite scary. And she even told me, she said very specifically, because I started talking about how things seem to be escalating, right? And things seem to be really changing for me. Things are far more intense even. And she's like, you know what? That's when it started to really ramp up for me. is when I was in my 30s. Which,
oh my gosh.
yes, which I'm like, okay, well, how far does this freaking go? Because we never really discussed in depth the entirety of the family history and what all this really freaking entails, because I don't know, and that's sort of scary.
Right.
'Cause you don't
And
know
like
what-
how much of like doing what you're doing brings it out even more.
Right. And like, I went to school for engineering, okay? There's so much of my brain that just wants to fit this in a box and make sense of it all.
Right.
And it just doesn't work that way. And I
Right.
continuously just end up with more and more questions. You don't know where this goes. You don't know where this could lead. You know what I mean? And it's one of the reasons why I've always sort of steered clear, especially if you've been with us for a long time. You've noticed that I sort of refrained from touching the spirit box, SB7s, like really getting involved with that, asking too many questions, like, because I understand, based on my own faith and my own beliefs, that the powers at play here can be insane, right? And I don't know, like, the full extent of it. And I don't think really anybody does. In fact, I think everybody has their own belief systems, their own history, and own experiences, etc. Especially in this genre in general, right? And everybody comes with different ideas, and I've seen it tons in the comments, right? And I've researched it because I was also researching religion, because I was also looking into going into the church, and religion sort of fascinated me, right? And I just look back on my family. You know, my family just has a very strange history. Okay? I'll give you an example. Okay? My great-grandfather, when my grandmother was very young, heard his mom, all right, my great-great-grandmother, call for him, said, "Tom, I need help. I need you to come." He got right up. They all got in the car, and they left. And you know what happened was he then got a call, or my grandmother picked it up, right, that she had passed.
What?
And they had already left because he heard her call. The same thing happened to my grandmother. She was visited by one of my other family members while she was in bed by somebody saying goodbye to her. Like, that's how deep this goes. Okay?
Yeah, and I know the details of that story, and I'll just tell you, it's crazy.
Right. That's
I
how,
want to leave her to tell that, but it's, oh my goodness.
That's how deep this goes. Right?
And you haven't even touched on your ancestry.
No. And, I mean, I grew up having dreams that came true. A lot. And I just never really I never paid any attention to that as a kid. I think a lot of kids sort of go through that anyway, because you're just that much closer, I guess, to the veil, or to the other side, or to life and death, whatever you might want to call it, right? You're
Yeah,
just
a lot
that
of
close.
people theorize that. Or,
And your brain is a lot more open when you're a kid.
yes.
It doesn't, it hasn't, like, sort of, I guess, solidified and been
Well, it's
molded.
developing.
Right. So you're that much more open.
Yes.
But I guess for some people, you just have more sensitivities to things like that, I guess. And I don't know, it runs deep in my family. I mean, my family goes way back, and it's pretty crazy.
It is.
I mean, people in my lineage have done some insane things. Have always really done insane things for their communities and people around them, and even, like, participating in some really crazy historical things.
Right, but they've never come out and taken credit for any of it, which is crazy. It's kind of off topic, but it's weird to me that they've never taken credit for any of it. Like,
No.
and I think it's amazing.
It is.
It just shows the humanity and
Right. Like, and it's really, really odd how much of those things I've carried with me without even realizing that was even in my family.
right.
You know what I mean? Very odd. Very, very strange. So, I wish I could really kind of explain it a lot more, but it's like something that I'm still kind of really going back and addressing on my own. So it's really hard to kind of explain it, but that's
You're still
really
figuring it out.
right. That's like the in the nutshell part of it. And hopefully that kind of puts in perspective how, like, when I go out and I do these things, how I address them and why. Why I might have always been very, very cautious and how we do things. Even back when we were sort of embellishing for entertainment purposes, we were playing with things that we didn't quite understand.
All right.
Things that made me very, very nervous. And yes, we would pick up things and I would hear things and things would be pretty crazy and I would get these feelings. And we like the Frank Lloyd Wright house, for example. That's one of the scariest I've ever been. That's one of the very first times we ever had a very intense paranormal experience. Because I remember the day we went in there, the very first time we went in there, during the day even.
And he's told me this story so many times because of how profoundly crazy it is. It's unbelievable. Like,
when we started hearing what sounded like just thousands and thousands and thousands of whispers that never shut up. And it was to a point where it's almost aggravating. You couldn't hear anything, like, or you know what I mean? We were so flushed and we were really affected. Our faces were flushed. We were a lot more aggressive even, and we were just disoriented. I mean, like I said, we like Joe and I had a massive argument, well, not a massive argument, but a pretty decent argument where we were a lot more aggravated than we should have been with each other driving home about how many rooms were in the house. Like,
see, now to me that's strange. Sense. And you've been telling me that story for like 3 years almost consistently. So like, it's crazy to me. Like that's like, it's just something we've always talked about. Like it
never made any sense.
Right. And why? Okay. What about when you heard the men talking outside?
We heard two men having a conversation. And then what sounded like the glass door completely freaking opening to the point where Joe and I literally left that freaking place to look around, to clear the place. We booked it out of there. We ran out of there. I mean, that happened. That was 100% real.
And which time was that?
That was the second time I believe that we went back. Because we went back a second time to clean up our language. Because a lot of people weren't happy about it. We
and the music?
A lot because we thought it was funny. And then we put creepy music through the whole thing. And we really wanted to do it again. Better. And so we did, and it was insane. And every time we've gone there, there's been some incidents, right? So it's just very, very strange, that place. And it seems that like
it has the strangest vibes ever. It's so scary.
Exactly.
Just walking up to it is scary.
It's pretty freaking insane. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, this is probably not going to be the last time we ever discuss this because it just goes
we can talk about it
far back. And your kind of experience and what I'm experiencing, the freaking confusion, all the questions that I'm sort of now just getting into due to our interest and due to the direction we're taking the channel and what we're doing now, which I think it might be kind of fun. We all get to kind of ride this ride together and find out where this freaking goes. You know what I mean?
It's really actually exciting and fun.
It is exciting. Which is like when we go to places like Brushy or we go to places like Bobby Mackey's. Like, I'm interested to see what might happen. And like, it's kind of why my grandmother wants to go to some of these places.
Yeah.
Because she's told me she would like to see what happens when we're both together.
I want to see that. Happen. I want to witness that in person. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Not to mention just hilarious. My 74-year-old grandmother wants to go on one of these paranormal investigations and she's like, I want to see a ghost. I never wanted to do it alone, but you know, since you guys are doing it, I just want to see a ghost. I'm like, oh, Grams, okay, we'll take it. So
she's an amazing woman. She's crazy. Like, not crazy, but just the things she wants to do. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I know she's.
It's amazing.
She's a legit savage. She's been through some things in life. Let me tell you, but. Those are things that, like I said, we'll go over together. I think we'll have some fun and we'll have her in and she'll share some of that and you'll get to understand me a lot better too.
Yes.
But yeah.
That would really be awesome.
I don't know. But yeah. That's sort of my story in a nutshell. And that's kind of where I come from. And that's where we're going. Kind of there. You know what I mean? But she's got some insane stuff that's happened. And it's kind of one of the things, like, some of the stuff she's told me about, like, Ouija boards. And I know I troll her all the time that I'm going to get one. But obviously it's something I take very seriously because something crazy happened. But I'm gonna let her tell that. So you wanna start talking about your stories? Some of your experiences?
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I just want to say, I lived in the same house growing up my entire life, pretty much, until, I was old enough to move out and all that, and went to college and all that stuff.
That's the house your parents are in right now?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's the same house my parents are still currently living. The development, actually, they live in was built in the 70s. And where the development is, and I don't know if this has anything to do with my experiences, I'm going to throw it out there because it's kind of weird to me. So the development was actually built around a factory that existed during World War II, that what they made was ammunition and things like that, and there was a lot of like really dangerous chemicals and stuff. There's a lot of structures in the woods by my parents' house that are still standing. However, it's all in the woods, and it's a complete residential suburban development. They turned it into a development. I did actually, when Rob and I first met, I did actually like record a video for him. I went up there like in the evening, and it was crazy. I actually did catch an EVP. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'll have to look for that.
And like that whole area, it's not just World War II, it's World War One. Not to mention like just indigenous history as well. That whole area, like it's crazy. It goes.
There's a lot of indigenous history in New York, and a lot, and specifically in the Syracuse area. There's so much history, and then also to add to that, there's these giant power lines. The ones they look like they have like pointy cat ears, or like the big ones, and they run right past, like behind my neighborhood, like my parents' backyard. They're not in specifically our backyard, but it's very close. So I'm wondering if EMF is high. I never tested it because I never really thought of it, but that could be part of it.
I don't know.
So basically, like, I always had a lot of strange feelings about things. Like, I'd go to places and I'd get weird feelings, kind of like Rob. I don't feel like I have the same abilities he has, but I do feel like I have some kind of sensitivity. And I've had people tell me that before, so I don't know. But, so I'll tell you about a few things I've experienced, and I don't know if this is related to any of what I just said. So, basically, as a kid, I remember being scared of the dark a lot, but that's pretty typical. And then when I was, I had to have been like 6 or 7, my friend had a sleepover party in the summertime.
Gosh. This story.
This story. And she had a Ouija board, and we were just kids.
I know, because they made that a kid's game.
It's like, it was a kid's game, and, and I was raised Catholic and whatever, and but it was just a game. Nobody thought anything of it, and we did it. Then in November, unfortunately, the house did burn down. Her house. And I was a kid, and it was in the middle of the night. Fortunately, everyone was able to escape the fire. But it's just it was an electrical fire. They determined somehow that it had something to do with the bathroom or something. I don't know. But, and it's just strange how it happened, and why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. They say that kind of stuff can happen because, like, anytime you do anything, like, even just spirit box, even just trying to go out and actively communicate nothing.
Yeah, you're opening a portal.
You're opening a portal. And with Ouija boards, and that's the problem, is you never know what you're doing. You never know who you're communicating with. You might think you do, but, and sometimes you get feelings, but ultimately, in general, anytime you do that, no matter whether you have abilities or not, you're essentially opening that portal. All right? And yeah, a lot of people say there's rules and there's things you can do. I don't know, man, because I don't know how much of that is true. And then when you're screwing around with the Ouija board, you might not have closed the portal properly, if that's even really a thing. And who knows, you might have let something in. Like, there's all kinds of stuff you hear about, like, bad things, bad luck, bad stuff happening after doing that. And just given sort of the history of that area, you just never freaking know.
Yes.
Right?
And now I haven't really, honestly, I want to look more into the history of that place or that factory, the World War II factory, because that's really interesting to me. There's actually some structures and ruins that are still there that I've been in.
And then, like, there were like a ton of people that got killed in Syracuse at a munitions factory through like a massive explosion, even. So you just don't know how much of that
I know.
could even...
You're talking about the quarry.
Right.
That was actually a little bit farther away, but it's still in close proximity.
Exactly.
That was also another munitions factory.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that kind of stuff happened all the time, which is pretty wild. And then, like, you're telling me that you had something in your house.
Yes.
And we still haven't really figured out, and I'll let you tell it, but, like, we still haven't really figured out if that, whatever that might be,
has followed me.
Has followed you. If it was there because of you, for you, has followed you, anything like that, which is really crazy.
I have a theory behind what it happens to me, which I'll touch on in a little bit after I explain. But I do have a theory about that. So after that, growing up, I was generally like scared to be home alone. I just really didn't like to be home alone. Nothing really crazy happened. And then like I started noticing, once I moved, there was a point in time where my room got moved to a different room that was in a different part of the house. And randomly I started hearing whistling outside of my window in the middle of the night as a teenager. I think I was like 13 or 14 or something. I started hearing whistling like all hours of the night. And like, yes, I lived in a residential neighborhood, but it wasn't like there's no way people would be out. You know what I mean? There's just no way. And it happened consistently from when I was younger until basically I moved out. Like, well, I mean, I moved back home and stuff a bunch of times, but it happened a lot. Like,
all kinds of weird occurrences. You used to tell me about that stuff all the time. Even your dogs were acting funny and stuff.
Yep. And then another thing that happened is our smoke alarm, which is in the basement. And we obviously had several smoke alarms, but the one in the basement, for some reason, it's the only one, but it would go off randomly. And I would go down there and have to like shut it off, but there was no reason for it. There's no smoke. There was nothing.
Right. And you said your dog wouldn't even want to go down there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, so here's another funny story. My dog, Polly, when did I get her? I think she's going to be 4 this year. So ever since I had her, like, she will not go down in the basement. And like, I've even carried her down there. It's not a creepy basement at all. It's like 7 stairs. It's a very short distance down. There's a family room on one side and there's a basement part on the other side. And it's small. It's not huge or anything. And but for some reason my dog is terrified. And then like my mom will bring her down there and then like she'll run away from my mom. Like, she won't go down there. She's terrified. Doesn't make any sense. But that leads me to another thing, is that I had a cat that died, I want to say, I can't remember exactly, maybe 6 years ago, something along those lines. Less than 10 years ago. But he basically lived down there. Like, he was my dad's best friend and he was a great cat, but he unfortunately passed away in the house, as well as a couple of other cats I had, or one other cat I had. But what I noticed is randomly I would see in my peripherals, I'd see him down in the cellar.
Really?
Yep.
That's
all
funny.
The time.
My grandma talks about seeing her cats all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Like seeing Raisin Can all the time. Like, almost like he's like a familiar spirit or something.
That's strange, because my cat looked just like Raisin Cane, like almost identical. How weird is that?
It is kind of strange.
He was a black kitty with long hair.
I don't
and
know,
green eyes. Beautiful green eyes.
Cool. So wild.
But anyways, yeah, so I've I feel like I really have seen his spirit down there, which bothers me because, I don't know, there are just strange things. And I remember as a kid, one of the reasons I'd be scared to be home alone is radios would turn on and off by themselves. During the summertime when both my parents would be at work and I didn't have school, I think I was in like middle school. I remember radios going on and off, so I would spend most of my time outside in the summertime with my friends. We'd be doing stuff because I was too scared to be in the house by myself.
Crazy.
And I'd hear footsteps. Like, I'd be down in the basement in the family room area because that's where we had our computer and stuff. And I'd hear footsteps upstairs when nobody else was home.
That's freaking wild.
I can't explain it. One day I came home from school and the bathroom faucet upstairs was on full blast. And somehow the sink had clogged and the water was actually falling down the stairs to the basement like a waterfall.
That's so crazy.
My parents were at work and I had gotten home from school. I don't have an explanation for that.
It wouldn't just happen. I mean, faucets don't just turn on.
Right.
So, that's weird.
And our cat wasn't like the cat that would jump up on everything and mess with things. Like, at the time, the cat we had was old and stuff, and she just kind of slept, and she didn't really bother with anything, so I really don't think that could be it. I mean, possibly, but besides that, I don't have an explanation. That freaks me out.
The probability your cat would just randomly turn on the faucet, it has never done it before, and never do it again?
No.
Very strange. I don't know. That's wild. And like now that you're like really doing this and sort of we decided to open ourselves up, you're like really starting to like see things like faces and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I haven't got to that yet. I just did want to mention one other thing before I get into the recent stuff is before I actually like moved down last March, there was one night I was staying with my parents. And everyone had gone to bed. I was in the living room picking up all the dog toys and putting them away and cleaning everything up and cleaning up the kitchen. But at this particular time, I was in the living room and I was picking up the dog toys and putting them in the box. Okay. And then Polly, my mom had gone to bed, and I have 2 Chihuahuas, one old and one young, and they go to bed with my mom, basically. But when I was in the living room picking up the toys, Polly was standing at the top of the stairs, I noticed, and she's looking in the kitchen, and she started barking her head off like there was somebody there. And I told her, I'm like, Polly, it's just mommy. I'm cleaning up your toys. Don't worry, it's okay. You know, I kept like trying to talk to her. And I was in the living room, and I was cleaning up, and then I hear a bang in the kitchen. I'm like, what the heck is that? And she's still like at the top of the stairs, just like staring. And I'm like freaking out. And do you remember me telling you about this? I go in the kitchen in a cupboard we never use. The door's wide open.
That's freaky.
I have a picture of it. Oh, I should have pulled that up for the video. That'd be crazy.
Like
maybe I'll insert it in the video. But it's like, I think I sent you the picture of it because I was so freaked out about it.
That's insane.
And but after that, like, and then it just stopped. You know, like there was nothing after that. But like. To me, that was crazy. Like,
that's insane.
And I've had plenty of other experiences that I'm not gonna bore everyone with, but because they're basic stuff. But like,
that's crazy.
That's just some of the stuff that's happened in my past.
That's freaking scary. And now you do this.
Yes.
For a living, you go out and you look for ghosts.
And it's funny because like my friends from my childhood, they would my friend Colleen, hi Colleen, she would be like, she texted me, she's like, I can't believe you're doing this. I remember like I used to prank you and like turn the lights off when you're in the bathroom because you'd get scared.
That is pretty funny. Now you're doing 30-minute.
Yeah, like nobody can believe I'm doing this, so it's really crazy. It really is.
Crazy. I mean, that's one thing that this burn's all about. It's facing your fears, I suppose. So
no, I don't.
You're doing it.
Yes, I agree. But like, I know I don't have the same sensitivities as you, but I feel like there might be something just because of things I've experienced.
I don't know.
The smoke alarm thing randomly going off, like, people say it could be the battery, blah, blah, blah. But that's happened to me in multiple locations. It happened in my parents' house. It happened at the hotel I was actually staying at, where I was living when I went to college. I was a transfer student, and they didn't have enough room in the dorms. So they put us all in this hotel that was an older hotel. This was in Buffalo, New York. And I had the smoke alarm go off a couple times in there randomly. For no reason. I always felt like I was being watched. And when my roommate wasn't there, I didn't like being in there alone. I just didn't. And this is a hotel.
That's crazy.
It was a big hotel, but it was like a commercial hotel. It's not one you'd be like scared of. So I thought that was weird.
That's definitely weird.
But
coincidence, maybe?
That's where that
Very
is one
strange.
Yes.
If it's a coincidence, that's very weird.
Right. But it's just like these sequences of events. And like my parents went out of town, like 5-ish years ago, and I stayed over there a few days to watch the dogs and everything. And lo and behold, my dad's radio turned on by itself in his room.
That's crazy. I don't know, maybe we should go up there and see him and do a whole ghost hunt and see if we find anything.
I don't know. I feel like that house needs to be cleansed big time. I did sage in there before I left, but I do feel like it needs more.
I know. But what if we went there and we confirmed?
Oh, and
100% without a shadow of doubt, that place is 100% haunted.
Right.
Oof.
But that comes back to the thing is I don't know if it's something following me, because also it's happened here. The smoke alarm has gone off randomly.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like a common theme with me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's something following me or it's a complete coincidence, but that to me, that's crazy.
I don't know. Maybe you brought something. You brought something with you.
And it's definitely possible.
I don't know.
I honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
Things have been a lot better though since we've been saging and doing Hollywood stuff and making sure we take precautionary measures and stuff. Because at first when we started doing this, we didn't do anything, and then the house got real bad.
There was a very bad energy in this house, and that's one thing I did notice is I can sense energies. So I don't know if that's
I don't know,
a normal thing for people. They can sense energy, but
yeah.
I know you do for sure, but.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's maybe just intuition or maybe I have some kind of sensitivity. I don't know. People have told me that, but like I said, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Remains to be seen, I suppose. That's the point of this, is we're sort of taking a journey kind of to figure out that as well. That's part of the reasons why we took this direction in the first place.
Right.
One of the many reasons why we've done this, but
yes.
I don't know. But again, you guys get to take this ride with us. You guys get to figure out along with us, and then maybe that'll answer some of the questions that maybe you guys have about your own experiences.
Right.
I don't know. I have no idea.
And I just wanted to touch on one more thing, is going exploring. When I first started back in 2019 with you and Joe, I noticed there was a lot of things happening. We were picking up a lot of voices. It was crazy. And just a lot of things were happening. And 2020 happened, and obviously we didn't see each other.
Right.
And I was just working from home and stuff. But once I started back doing this stuff, it's just things I've been picking up on camera. The things I've witnessed. The things I've seen. I have seen a specific face. I think 3 separate occasions now. I think one of the times I didn't see it until afterwards at Brushy Mountain when we did the Supermax on the camera.
That's true.
But it's the same face that I saw at the farmhouse and I saw at the bridge.
There might be something
over your shoulder. And if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's basically it's a flash of a white face, and you can tell there's eyes, nose, and a mouth, but it's gone in a flash, and then you don't. I can't figure out the exact features. I just know it was crazy. And I know I'm going to catch it on camera one day. I just know it. I know. I'm going to catch that on camera. And I'm wondering, my question is that spirit that I'm seeing a figment of my imagination? Or is that actually there? Or is that just... is that real? I don't know.
I don't know.
Is it something I can capture?
Certainly remains to be seen. I guess we'll find out. Because we're going to be testing a heck of a lot. Because we're going to be going to a bunch of places that are really freaking creepy. And we'll see if you still see it. Maybe it's something following you. Maybe it's a spirit guide. Maybe it's something not so good. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I guess we will find out.
I mean, we're in it now.
You've seen stuff too. Like, I remember you calling me on the phone saying, "Oh my God." It was when you were still in Florida and you were in the Yellow Murder House the last time you did it. And you called me and you said, I just saw a ghost.
Saw me in there. Yeah.
You freaked out and you're like, I literally saw a ghost.
It was a man standing there.
You thought, but at first you thought it was a homeless person or something, or a person that was just there.
Yeah. He was there and then he vanished. But it was like a freaking negative. Kind of like what you were like describing, like a mime-looking face. Basically the same deal. Pretty insane.
Oh, it gives me the creeps.
I don't know, man. What I do know is this is the start of a crazy freaking journey. 2022 is going to be insane. We're going to deep dive into this. There's going to be a lot of different types of content. We're still going to be doing the same thing we always have. But
absolutely.
Crazy new stuff as well, including stuff like this, which is awesome because we get to have fun with your guys' ideas. We get to have fun with your guys' experiences, and we all get to know each other and kind of, I don't know, figure all this out together.
Yes, I was going to say, we can figure this out together,
right.
What we're all experiencing and why.
Exactly.
That's really what is really piquing my interest right now.
I know.
Like, it's fun to make scary videos, but it's also fun to figure out exactly why it's happening or what's real and what's not.
Right.
What's our imagination? Will we ever be able to figure it out?
I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, guys, make sure you comment below. Let us know what your experiences have been. Comment below and I don't know, maybe we'll do a review of them. Maybe pick the top 10 or maybe pick them at random and we'll have some fun. And we'll do kind of a callback sort of review, reaction type thing to it, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be cool. We get to know you guys a little bit better.
Yes.
You know, what you guys have been through and all that good stuff, which is awesome. I think it's a lot of fun.
It is, definitely.
I don't know.
So yeah, leave a comment below. Follow us on social. We have Instagram, we have TikTok, we have Twitter. We don't use Twitter as much, but we do use Instagram quite a bit. Yeah. So it's at Urban Ghost Urbex, which is in the description as well. But
yep, everything's in the description below. But yeah,
lots of stuff coming.
Lots of coming.
2022 is going to be insane.
So exciting. Anyway, guys, much love to you all. Until next time, be ready, guys.
Yes.
Stay strong.
Stay blessed.
Stay savage.
Little guns and big guns all look at the same time this time.
Peace and love, guys.
Peace. Love you guys.
God bless.